Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Up All Night and Are You Afraid of the Dark podcast. My name is Courtland, and with me is a changeling toad in a jar, Brandon. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing fine.
That's good. I'm glad you could talk being stuck in a jar as a toad. It's awesome.
Yeah, it happens. You get used to it.
I mean, you are there for the rest of time, so...
Yeah, all eternity, like, you make the best of it.
Yeah. Oh, so how you been doing this week?
Well, I'm still sick from last week.
Oh, yeah. You don't sound like death today.
Never-ending sickness. No, I've just got a sniffly nose still. That's never going to end as long as I live.
So you don't sound so much like death, but you still like feel like you're dying?
Yeah, I feel a little bit like death, but it doesn't interrupt the podcast, so it's all good.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're feeling better, Brandon. Did you do anything fun this week?
Not really. I am quite excited for this weekend.
Why's that?
Because it's a 3-day weekend, bro.
Why do you get a 3-day weekend?
Because it is the greatest holiday of all, the Queen's birthday.
The Queen's birthday?
Hell yeah.
Oh, man. How old is she? Do you know?
No, I don't care about that sloppy old woman, but
we can't say that.
get a day off of work. I get a day off of work, so she is the best.
I love the Queen. I wish she were my
She's all right.
queen.
She's on my money.
Yeah, she's not on mine. I think she was on the Canadian money. I don't know. I don't want to talk about that because I don't know for sure.
Once we make the Are You Afraid of the Dark fan pilgrimage, we'll see.
To Canada? I've been
Yes.
to... Have you been to Canada? Because I have.
Yeah, I've been.
When did you go to Canada?
I went to fucking Niagara Falls one time.
Was it before we met?
No.
What? I don't remember any of this. You didn't tell me about your Niagara Falls adventures. Why didn't you invite me?
It was when I went to Boston. We went to Niagara Falls.
You went to Boston?
Yeah. This was in like 2005 or something.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Well, you weren't there.
Well, I know. You didn't invite me.
I didn't invite you, and I probably just didn't tell you. You were just like,
I don't think you did. I was calling your house.
Yeah.
Nobody was answering. And I was just like, well,
Guess
I guess I'm going to play Golden Sun on my DS or something, or whatever the fuck I was playing in 2005. Probably Resident Evil Outbreak.
Yeah, probably. You played that for a long time.
So do you want to get into this episode?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Every time. I love it. So we just got done watching episode 11, The Tale of the Dark Music. I'm going to ask you, what did you think of this episode?
I liked it. It's probably my favorite episode in a while.
Yeah, you know what? I absolutely hated the music in it. Which is funny because it's called The Tale of the Dark Music.
Yeah, it was the most music episode thematically, and
it's all sucked.
It was just total dog shit.
Yeah, I hated the music.
The most boring episode, The Hungry Hounds, had the best music.
Yeah.
And this episode is awesome, and it's just fucking terrible.
Yeah, I know. I thought that the whole time. Just like every new guitar riff, I was just like, kill me. Like, just make me deaf, God, please. And it didn't happen, which I'm thankful for now.
Unfortunate.
You know, when you're at your lowest, you know, sometimes you wish for death and it doesn't come, and then later on it gets better and you're thankful. So that's what happened to me.
In hindsight, it's probably better not to be deaf.
Yeah, but aside from the horrible music in this episode, I really love this episode. It's like it's one of my favorites.
It's good.
It gets to the point. It has a theme. It sticks with it. There's not like any ridiculous plot holes or anything. It's honestly, I think it's like legitimately scary too.
Yeah, I thought so.
I think overall it's the best episode so far.
I called other people into the room to watch it, and I was like, is this scary? I think it's scary.
Would you call like your 11-year-old daughter in to be like, this is scary, right? Like,
yes.
Well, I watched it alone because my wife refuses to watch this show with me because she's too scared of it. And we watched The Act on Hulu, which is like a true crime drama about like a little girl that she kills her mother. And we started the show and I'm like, this is going to be scarier than Are You Afraid of the Dark, right? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so why don't you want to watch Are You Afraid of the Dark with me? She's like, it's too scary. I'm gonna have to cut some of that out because she does listen to the podcast. She's gonna be mad at me.
The podcast is scary too.
So let's start this episode. The episode begins with Gary. He's pushing his face right into that campfire, and he's just blowing into it, and he's adding these little tiny sticks to it. And Eric is sitting on like the storyteller's throne. So
is it a throne? Really?
It's like a collection of rocks.
A fancier bundle of sticks?
Yeah, it's not like a tree stump. It's like rocks that you can comfortably. It's probably not even comfortable, but that you can sit on.
I wouldn't think so.
It's where you sit when you are the storyteller. So I assumed Eric was going to be the one to tell this story, and I was right. Because actually I already knew that this was the story, so I cheated by having past knowledge. But this is another case of, this is what, the third time now that we've had back-to-back the same Midnight Society member tell their story the week before and the week after?
Yeah. You'd think that wouldn't happen. There's enough kids there that they could rotate them around.
I know.
And I know the episodes were aired out of order, but come on.
Even so, we have like 6 more seasons of this, so I'm hoping that they get this shit together. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, but it just seems unfair. I mean, Frank has only had one story, Gary has had one, Kiki's had one, and Kristen have had one, and everybody else has had like 2 to 3, because Betty Ann's had 3.
Okay. Well, Frank's story had Buzz in it.
Yeah.
And Kristen's story was the fucking worst. So maybe it's for the best that the gang doesn't allow them to tell more stories.
Yeah, but like...
Maybe Frank's like, yo, I got a great idea for a story. And they're like, Eric, do you have anything?
Well, you know
Betty
what?
Ann, it's your turn again for the 4th week.
I think it's a little unfair that Betty Ann... I mean, not that I don't like Betty Ann, but it was a little unfair that she got to tell 3 stories before Eric got to finish one. Because, I mean, if counting this story, he's had 2, but also in the Twisted Claw, he did have like 5 minutes of one story as well. Does that count?
No.
Okay, never mind. Banish that from the history books.
Look, the greatest storytellers rise to the top. And Eric just doesn't have what it takes. Although apparently Betty Ann's stories are boring and Gary's stories are boring.
But Kristen's stories that are boring are amazing.
Yes.
She
brings props to the stories, so it's exciting.
I was listening to The Hungry Hounds again the other day, and I like the part where you were like, because when the dogs were barking in the closet or wherever they're fucking at, you were like, so is Kristen's dog Elvis just barking like for 7 dogs right now, and Kristen has to scream the story over the dog barking? I was like, oh,
it really brings you into the story.
It does. And then she walks slowly. And the dog's just like,
she did slow motion kicks.
It was great. All right, but getting back to this episode.
Yes.
Eric's sitting at the storyteller's throne, and Frank comes running up to Eric. He's all in a panic. And he's yelling at him.
He looks like he's about to piss himself.
He does, yes. And he's asking Eric, like, where were you, man? What the fuck? Where were you? And he's just screaming at him. And then Kristen walks up to him saying, it's okay, Frank. We were waiting for you. And it sounds like Frank was late this episode, and Gary still hasn't done anything about that.
Someone's always late.
Yes. That's like the only conflict that they can have as the Midnight Society. Somebody's late. Somebody's sick. Kristen fucking can't take clown stories. There's only so much you can do, I guess. You can't just be like, oh, I should probably implement a rule about that, and then just never bring it up again, and then be late the next week.
Yeah.
So Frank is panting, and he's telling Eric that they were supposed to come together. And Eric is just like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Sorry. He starts eating his popcorn.
They were supposed to bike pool to the meeting?
They were supposed to go arm in arm, just like chained together as besties through the forest to the meeting spot. Which I'm going to say is a good idea considering all the wolves in this forest. So it's good they have a buddy system.
What are they going to do if they come up to wolves? 2 people can't take down a wolf.
Throw
pack.
monkey bone powder in the wolf's eyes and cast a voodoo spell.
That might be enough to distract him.
Yeah, that wolf would be so embarrassed if it was howling and then it was a chipmunk howl.
A chipmunk howl?
Yeah, it's so embarrassing.
Oh my god, he would be the laughing stock of that pack.
Yeah, the pack would just desert him, even if he was the alpha. So Frank gets super pissed and he's yelling at Eric and he grabs Eric's flashlight. And Eric says, "Be careful with that. That's my father's." And Frank says, "I ought to make you eat it." He walks by Betty Ann, who asks, "What's the big deal?" And Eric starts to tell what the big deal is, but Frank's like, all right, just forget it, guys. But Eric doesn't forget it. He continues. He says, "Poor Frankie lost his flashlight." And Frank's like, "Okay, let it go, Eric." But then it cuts to David, and I don't know. This was so uncharacteristic of David. He's just stoking the flames, right? He's just egging this shit on. He's like, "And what?" Tell us Frank's weakness. He's just such a little bitch here, and I think it's funny. We don't get very much David, and when we do, it's him
we really don't.
macking on fucking Kristen and giving her jewelry and shit. And then here
I
he
kind
is.
of forgot he was even a character.
I did too. He hasn't been in any episodes featured really, except for maybe
he doesn't
Super
have
Specs.
sassy comments like Frank and Kiki.
No, he's the sweet, understanding guy. Except for right here when he's like, "Eric, tell us his weakness. I need to destroy him." So Eric tells him, he says that Frank is afraid of the dark.
Well, that answers the title of the show.
I know. Are you afraid of the dark? In Frank's case, yes.
Answer, yes. Case closed. Show's over.
Show's over. 7 seasons didn't happen. We're done here. Kiki is just completely stupefied by this, which I say that in a surprising tone, but that's just Kiki, so I take it back. Kiki is stupefied by this, again, by just everything. And she's like, "What?"
So now we know that Frank is afraid of the dark and Kristen is afraid of clowns.
Yes.
So we need to narrow down what everyone is afraid of.
Okay. Let's do it.
If I was in the Midnight Society, I would learn everyone's fears and then tell a story that incorporated all of those things.
You would be David just sitting there "Come on, guys, what's everybody scared of so I can tailor my tales around it."
And then I'd be like, "And it was dark." And Frank would be like, "Oh, fuck, oh no." And then, and there was a clown there.
Kristen would be gone already.
Yeah, diarrhea, she's out.
So Kristen, after Kiki's stupid face, Kristen makes fun of Frank as well, saying he's not Mr. Tough Stuff.
I mean, he had a denim jacket that one time, but okay. I guess he's not tough.
Frank looks pretty embarrassed as well as pissed. The camera just kind of watches him for 6 seconds or so. And it cuts over to Betty Ann, and she says, "It's okay. I get scared in the dark sometimes too." And I'm just like, man, Betty Ann is just so supportive of everybody.
Seriously.
Except for that one time when she was like, "Fuck you, Eric." But
well, Eric was being kind of a asshole, so.
Yeah, she did. He did tell her 2 weeks in a row that her stories were boring, so that makes sense. Frank quickly says he's not afraid of the dark, that he was worried he wouldn't be able to find the clearing without a flashlight, which, like I said, is pretty valid. There should be a buddy system. These woods are riddled with wolves, and he yells at Eric saying, "You're going to pay for this, man." Old man Gary gets up from his campfire that's in full bloom, and he says, "Don't kill him yet. He's telling the story tonight." Who did you think? Oh, you thought this one was going to be Kristen.
Yeah, it sounded like a boring Kristen story.
Nope, it's not Kristen, Brandon. Wrong again.
Well, I feel lucky.
Why? That it's not a Kristen story?
Yeah. I've given her one shot and she blew it.
You didn't give it to her. She took that one shot. She doesn't even know who you are.
Failed. Good day.
So we get another week of Eric, even though we just had one last week. And Eric says, "Yeah, this story is going to be a good one. There's a widow boy in it who's a scared of the dog." Frank tells Eric he's going to be dead meat, and Kiki tells Frank to sit the fuck down. And she says, "Don't be strange," which I thought was weird. I thought that was strange.
Yeah, that's not really a...
What does it mean? Don't be a weirdo? I don't get it.
Yeah, just don't be fucking stupid. But that she should just say, "Don't be fucking stupid."
Yeah, on this children's TV show.
Yeah,
Do it,
Nickelodeon. Kiki. Just fuck you.
Fuck you, Frank. Sit down.
Sit your ass down.
So Frank tells her, nah, I'll stand. And then it cuts to Gary's face, and he says, just tell the fucking story. Just tell this goddamn story, Eric. Eric puts his little popcorn baggie aside, and he begins the story appetizer. He says, well, everyone knows that there's nothing in the dark that can hurt you, most of the time. And it very quickly pans over the faces of a few of the kids who look excited, and Eric grabs that bag of monkey bone powder, and he says his line, submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. He's calling this story The Tale of the Dark Music, and the episode begins. Immediately, it doesn't even give you a second to understand what's going on. Eric's voiceover starts, and we're showed a scene of a kid. He's out on a nice day riding his red bicycle. He's delivering some newspapers. How old do you think this kid is? I thought he was 14.
13, 14, something like that.
I feel like he's already gone through the voice change of puberty, because that's just what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, he's older than, well, yes, most of the characters have actually been older. I expected them all to be Buzz's age.
Yeah, 9 to 11, somewhere around there.
9, 10.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Super Specs and Sorcerer's Apprentice both had just high school kids, so yeah. I'd say he's probably 14 though.
Yeah.
He's got a red shirt on with a collar, and this kid's name is Andy Carr, and Eric tells us that he wasn't doing so hot. His folks got divorced, and his mother wasn't making much money, so he got this paper route to try and help pay for some bills or whatever, his to buy his own lunch at school. But things were still pretty tough. And then one day, it looked like his luck changed. His mom inherited some big old house from an uncle that she could barely remember. Just like that, it didn't cost her a dime. And Andy's seen riding up into a house with just a bunch of boxes in the driveway and a woman unpacking. So he helps her. It's probably his mom. And this must be the new house. There's some workers sitting outside on their porch eating some lunch. And I don't know why they showed us that for so long, because...
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, oh, who are these important characters?
They're nobody.
Surely we'll get introduced to them soon, and they will get up to some kind of hijinks.
Yeah, they're going to be the focal point of this episode, right?
No, they're
they
just
create the dark music. They're a
some
band.
dudes eating lunch.
Yeah, it was just weird that they focused on them so long when they had nothing to do with the story.
The whole idea of inheriting a house or anything from some long, distant relative is weird.
It is, because I'm pretty sure that you would still have to pay taxes. So them not having to pay a dime, that's a lie. But I have a theory for that. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
Eric continues, saying that the house was kind of old, but it was a lot better than that puny apartment that they had been living in. It really looked like the Carr's luck was changing. Except that there were two kinds of luck, and you don't always get the kind that you want. The scene shifts, and Andy's back on his bike now, and it looks like he's delivering his papers when some kind of kid with long hair just steps out in front of him. It was very unorganic. You should have seen that guy from a mile away. Yeah.
He's just riding his bike, and dude comes out bleh!
Yeah, it just steps right in his way, and of course Andy hits him, and his papers fly into the air, and Andy lands on the grass. The guy he ran into steps on his chest and tells Andy, "You mess with me, kid, and I'll deck ya."
Yeah, what the fuck? He wasn't messing with you. He was just riding his bike.
Yeah.
You're the one who stepped in his way.
Yep. He's the one that caused this accident. So Andy's like, "What?" And the kid continues saying how everyone was glad that your nutbag uncle kicked it, and then you had to come and show up.
That's that word, nutbag, again.
I know.
And this guy is wearing cowboy boots and a skull t-shirt.
Yeah.
And as soon as he shows up, a random guitar riff plays. So you know this guy's a badass.
I think it's every time he shows up we get a guitar riff.
Yeah, that's his theme song. His theme song is generic guitar riff.
Yeah. I know he sucks, but I don't mind him so much, at least for the first 2/3 of the episode.
He's all right.
His acting is pretty good. Given the circumstances that happen, I mean, he's a jerk to Andy, but I think he would be a good guy aside from that.
They give him a little bit of a tragic backstory later on.
Yeah. I get kind of.
I mean, you
I
see
guess.
circumstances that might lead someone into being a
A lo-
bully.
yeah, I guess.
Not
So,
really, but it's something.
Andy tells this kid who his name is Coda, but we don't get his name until like the last couple minutes of this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should I refer to him as Coda then, or just the bully?
I referred to him as Coda at the very end of my notes, but I wasn't going to go back and change all the instances of bully to Coda.
I'm not either. So Andy tells this kid that he never even met the guy, referring to his uncle. But the kid doesn't. This kid, the bully, he doesn't give a fuck. He says you're family. It's the same thing. If you get in my face again, you're history. Andy asks who the kid is, and he says, I'm your new neighbor. Welcome to the neighborhood.
What a sweetie.
That's the welcoming committee. And the bully walks away as some real crappy rock music starts playing. There's fucking guitar riffs everywhere. It's ridiculous. The next scene, we're in the Carr's house. Andy is bringing up a box into the living room. His sister, I'm assuming it's a sister, it's a little girl, is sitting in front of the TV, which is making just some generic video game sounds.
Bleep, bloop, bloop, bloop.
Yeah, it's like, boop. I hate it. I want to know what she's playing, though.
She's playing...
Is it a Commodore 64 or something?
It's just like a Game Master 82, and she's playing Adventure Man.
I could have swore. I thought that they showed the TV and they showed what she was playing, but I must have misremembered it because they do show the controller.
Yeah, it's like a boomerang.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't even think I had a wire on it. I don't know.
Anytime someone's playing a video game on a TV or movie, I'm trying to see what they're playing.
Yes, I always want to know.
I couldn't see. I don't think she was playing anything.
I don't either. Well, probably not. Like, just the generic video game sound effects we're playing. And Mom is struggling to put up a vertical blind.
Failing miserably.
She fails. Yes, she's complaining how stupid these are. I'm like, lady, you just fucking, you push it into the holder. It's not hard. It's not that hard.
That's probably why they were poor before, because every time she got a job, she was just like, how do you work this register?
Can't
you press
do
the
it.
buttons.
She's like, how do I put a box on a shelf? I don't get it. Andy opens up this box that he brought into the living room, and he pulls out, did you see this thing? He pulls out this incredible shark figurine. I thought that thing was awesome.
I didn't notice it. My wife pointed it out to me later in the episode.
Did they show it again in the episode? Because that thing was amazing.
She was just like, did you see that shark thing? And I was like, no, what?
Yeah, I love that thing. I want it. I want it a lot.
Sounds badass.
I always just want the scenery of this show. I'll take a cheetah cookie jar, a fucking shark figurine. I'll take that hand in a jar.
When we go on
just
our
for good
fan
measure.
tour of Canada, I'm sure that's in a museum somewhere.
Yeah. That thing is awesome. I bet you my son would like it too. Shit, all your kids would probably love that fucking thing.
Sharks for everyone.
He asks his mom what his Uncle Miles was like, and Mom says she doesn't remember as she's trying to smash these fucking blinds into place. She says that the last time she saw him, she was Christina's age. So Christina's the little sister.
Yeah. She's like 6, 7.
Yeah, I would say probably between 7 and 9.
Let's go with 7.
Okay, let's do it.
She's 7.
Yeah. Mom gets pissed about the blinds, and she says, this is useless. Go downstairs and see if there's a ladder down there. And Andy says, the basement? In a way that makes it sound like he's scared of it.
He's gonna shit his pants at the idea of having to go in the basement.
You know what? I think the actor, I like the actor, Andy, he does a good job for the most part. He makes some fucking weird faces in this episode. But aside from that, he does a pretty good job. The problem I have with this episode is that I think that the actor is a little too old for this. I know that whole episode is about being scared of the dark in the basement and stuff, but for a 14-year-old kid to just be like, Mom, please, no, I don't want to go down in the scary basement. Unless he got beaten by his dad in the basement or something, I think that the role should have been for a younger kid.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't think about it.
I did.
He's just some wuss kid.
I mean, I guess that could happen, but I don't know. I just feel like this role should have been for somebody younger.
Is the story meant to be like based on Frank? Or is it just a coincidence that it's about a guy who's afraid of the dark?
I think it's a coincidence. I don't know. You think like Eric made this story up because Frank confided in him that he was scared of the dark?
Yes. So he used his friend's weakness.
Well, you know what? I don't blame Eric because remember that one time Frank waterboarded him?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in this very episode, he like smacked the flashlight out of his hand like a little baby.
he did, yeah.
So, Frank has it coming to him.
He does, yeah. So Andy seems to be scared about going into this basement. And Mom's like, yeah, there's just a bunch of junk down there. And Andy's like, I don't know. And then his douchebag sister starts in with a mocking, saying,
"What's the matter, Andy? Afraid of the dark?"
I like how she says it.
She has not that great of an actress.
No.
Can I even
she's
call
bad.
her an actress?
She's a girl they paid to be on set.
Yeah, she probably didn't get paid much because she didn't do a good job.
They said, you can play these fake video games.
Yeah.
Just sit here.
Just get into this fake video game. And she's like, all right, pay me in peanuts. So, of course, Andy's like, no, I'm not scared. I guess this is another instance of being goaded into doing something by Twerpy Chicken and all that,
It's very effective.
It is. So he starts walking over to the basement as his mom says, be careful down there. It's a real mess. We're treated to some tension buildup as Andy twists the door handle to his new basement. He turns on the lights and he just very slowly makes his way down there. Very, very slowly.
Very slowly. He approaches the basement like it's a dead body.
Yeah, it just takes forever. Finally, he gets a good look at the basement and Mom was right. There is just a ton of shit everywhere. I'm assuming that some of the stuff was just from Uncle Miles, too, because there's just a lot of garbage down there.
I'm assuming that's all from Uncle Miles.
It might be. The camera pans around to show us all of the shit, and it lingers on an old door that has like a latch on it. And Andy turns on a hanging light, and he just immediately uncovers an old music player. Like he's just like attracted to that thing.
Yeah, he's down there looking for a ladder. Like it's not gonna be under a little blanket.
No.
On a shelf. Like, dude, you're not even trying.
No, he didn't try at all. He barely looked around. He got distracted by a fucking blanket on a radio or something, and he just had to fucking take the blanket off and hook it up. Immediately he plugs that thing in, and then he starts fiddling with the knobs to try and get some music playing.
Yeah, for someone who didn't want to go down there at all in the first place, he gets down there and immediately is like, oh, what's this? Let's hang out. Basement's cool.
Yeah, this basement's fucking awesome.
My new chill spot.
So the music starts playing out of this really old player, and then the camera looks over at the door with the latch on it, and it starts to jiggle. And Andy gets a little scared, and he hears the jiggling. He says, I heard that.
Who is he talking to?
I don't know. Like, he doesn't even really react to that. I mean, he says I heard that, but that's all he does. He like goes right back to fiddling with the radio.
Just like, I heard that, monster. All right, back to this cool radio
podcast. Yeah, because they don't have any pets or anything, so I don't know who he could be.
It's either a serial killer.
Yep.
Or
a rat.
I don't know. A mummy. But either way, being like, I heard that is ineffective. A rat's not going to be like, oh, sorry, I'll be quieter next time. And a serial killer is not going to be like, oh, I'll leave, sorry. So.
No, he's going to kill you. He tunes the radio into just this absolute god-awful generic rock station.
Yeah, he's like, oh, fuck yeah, this is my jam.
It's just guitar riffs.
There is a lot of generic rock music, and there's not a single vocal or lyric in this entire episode.
No, there's not.
It's just all...
He just changes the station to FM, or he changes it to AM, and it's just like the worst music ever. For an episode that has music in its name, the music in this episode is the worst that we've had so far. And there's been episodes where we don't even mention the music.
It's just shit. It's worse than elevator music.
So the door behind him unlatches and it just swings open. And Andy asks who's there as he walks closer to the door. and then these two red glowing eyes appear in the darkness. And it says in a very proper voice,
"Hello, Andy."
Which I was laughing about. He's so nice. Like, hey, Andy, how you doing, man?
Oh, sup, and?
And then it gets deeper, and it says,
"Come on in."
and then the camera zooms into the eyes, and Andy screams, and he backs up, and he knocks down the old radio. It falls to the ground as he runs up the stairs, and then sparks shoot out of it, and fire for some reason.
That thing is obliterated into a million pieces.
Yeah, it's like...
It's managed to
damn.
survive 500 years in that basement.
Until
Andy breaks it after 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, why is there fire popping out of it? Like, is the wiring shitty in there or something? Is that why he only got terrible music out of it?
It's not a mirror. There's not shitty wiring in there.
No. So we cut to the Midnight Society, and Betty Ann says, ooh, boogeyman in the basement. I love it. And then we cut to Kiki, who says, Uncle Miles may be dead, but he's not forgotten. What?
I don't even... How did she make that connection?
I don't know. Gary says, ooh, and the kids do in unison as well. And Kristen says, yeah.
These interludes are so pointless.
I know.
Why did we need to see them all go, ooh?
I don't know, but I feel stupid when I just said all that. So Betty Ann asks Frank if he's okay, but it looks like he's just gone. He's not even where he was standing earlier. You can hear a wolf howl at this point, too, so he's probably getting attacked. He's probably dead.
Yeah, I'm going to assume he's being eaten. Whatever. They waited for him earlier, but they're not going to wait for him now.
Nope. Yeah, he's probably buried in that shallow grave from The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Well, it's lucky they had that there then.
Cuts out the work.
Someone was inevitably going to die.
Kristen asks where he went, and David says, I didn't see him leave. And Eric mocks Frank, saying, I told you he couldn't take it. He's too chicken. Gary tells him to shut up and keep going with the story. Frank will come back. And Eric continues, saying that Andy freaked and ran upstairs to get his mom, and that Andy's worst nightmares were coming true.
What's his worst nightmares?
Boogeyman and the dark.
Polite red eyes.
Yeah, probably somebody properly telling him to come on in.
It's very specific.
Well, everybody's got their own little personal worst nightmares. I'd tell you mine, but then you'd dethrone me as the podcast host.
Yeah, I would tell a story specifically to make you shit your pants.
Andy and his mom and sister are all walking downstairs, and he's telling him that it came from that door, that a monster was in there, telling him to come in, and that I'll suck your blood or something like that. And that's his words, not mine. I didn't paraphrase or, make it up or anything. So I'm like, where did the sucking of the blood come from? All he did was say, come on in.
I don't know. It's been like 30 seconds and he's already embellishing the story. He's like, and then it came out and it just bit me and it was scratching me. And it said, I'm going to kill you if you don't give me $1,000. I don't know. He said we got to get an Xbox. In 1991 or whatever.
Hey there, everybody. Courtland here, your best buddy and your paperboy. Brandon and I are excited to announce that we're going to be doing a giveaway. To celebrate us finishing the first season of Are You Afraid of the Dark, we're going to be giving away the complete first season to one lucky winner. In the description of this episode will be a link to the giveaway, which will list steps that you can take to enter in. There are multiple ways to enter, and the contest will be up and running until July 22nd, which is the day before our Season 1 wrap-up episode comes out. If you have yet to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, be sure to do it through the giveaway link so that you enter in to win. Our Twitter handle is PRVTIsland, Instagram's is Private Island Presents, and if you're feeling like you want to chit-chat, go ahead. I'm always happy to talk with anyone. Email us at privateislandpresents@gmail.com with anything you want to talk about. Are you feeling generous today? Well, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or any other apps where reviews are available. You could always leave a nice comment, too. Brandon and I love reading them. I'd like to thank All Hail the Badger for his work on the music for our show, and Brandon for the artwork. Be sure to enter into that giveaway, and for now, I'll let you get back to our 11th episode, covering the tale of the dark music. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye! Little sister tells Andy to get lost, and Mom just freaks out on her. He's so funny. She's like yelling at her. She's like, "Get the fuck upstairs!
Get back upstairs now!"
So, little sister
But
does.
the mom, she comes down with a hockey stick, I think it is.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Because she says it's probably a rat.
Most parents in these shows would just come down and be like, all right, you fucking bullshitter, let's go see this monster. Like, not believing the kid, but she's got a weapon. She's ready to fuck this monster up.
Yeah, she's got a hockey stick. She says it's probably a rat or something, and Andy's like, no, it came from the door, and it was talking. So she opens the door in the basement up that the monster was in. She looks left and right in there, ready to fucking bean whatever's in there. And then she just starts laughing, which is weird. She tells Andy to come and look over there inside. She turns on the light. She says, look around, and it's just the root cellar. So I don't get why she was laughing, because this root cellar is literally just an empty room.
Yeah, it doesn't really explain anything. Like, I thought she was going to open it, and she laughed, and I was like, oh, it's going to be like some mannequin or something in there that she's going to be like, oh, that's what you saw. But no, it's just an empty room, which doesn't explain anything about what he saw.
No, and that's why I didn't get why she was laughing about it. Like, nobody opens up a door that their son just told them there was a monster in there and sees that it's empty and then laughs at them about it. It didn't make any sense. How do you feel about this mom, by the way?
She's not great.
I don't think she's great, but she says some of my favorite lines in this episode.
Other than coming down with the hockey stick, like, she's not that great.
I don't think she's that great, but also I think she's probably the most important parental character that we've had in the show so far.
Yeah. I don't think she would tackle a mailman.
I don't think so either, no. And she wouldn't, like, forget her home keys, even though she used her car to drive. Yeah. She's got her shit. No, she doesn't. She doesn't have her shit together. But
No, not at all.
She wouldn't fall into those classic "Are you afraid of the dark?" stupid mom things. Andy just looks around the root cellar as his mom says that this house is falling apart. And I'm like, girl, you don't have the money to restore this house. It better not be fucking falling apart. She finds the broken radio on the ground and asks what it is. And Andy explains he was playing with this old radio, and Mom uses it as an excuse to explain away the monster, that it was probably something on this old radio that spooked him.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. He said he saw something.
Yeah. He said he saw the glowing red eyes, that it wanted to suck his blood, and she's just like,
oh, you were on the glowing red eyes station.
Andy doesn't really seem convinced, as he shouldn't, because he experienced it, not his mom. And his mom tells him, I know it's been tough, but I really need you to be strong for me right now. Which, I thought that was nice, like, character progression and stuff. It was nice.
Yeah.
He agrees, and she says, that's my guy, as she fans away the smoke coming out from this crappy old radio. And then she heads upstairs saying, we should go get something to eat before your fat little sister eats it all. And Andy turns off the light to the root cellar, and he closes the door. Okay, this next scene, the scene changes to this close-up of this fat man's ass. And he doesn't have a shirt on, and he walks up to the bully kid as he's cleaning the porch with this bucket of water and a scrub brush, and he says, and don't give me any lip. If you want an allowance, you gotta earn it. And we get to see the full embodiment of this man, and he's got these striped pants on, no shirt.
He is an overweight Hulk Hogan looking gentleman.
Yeah, he looks like Hulk Hogan. Yes,
with Beetlejuice's pants on and no shirt.
He's got this beer belly gut, a hat on with these long golden hair flowing out of both sides like Hulk Hogan.
He's in this episode for maybe 15 seconds, and he's my favorite character.
Yeah. He's a sight to behold, for sure. I don't know what they were thinking with this. This shouldn't be in a children's show. Just from the close-up of his ass to his fat belly, It doesn't make
I mean,
any
it
sense.
shouldn't be in any show.
He should have
but
I'd be okay with it if he had just had a fucking shirt on. He should have a shirt on.
he should have Beetlejuice's.
Yes, suit coat.
Yes.
As after we're assuming this is the bully kid's dad.
Yeah.
So after his dad walks into the house, he mocks him for the bully mocks him for a second. As he continues cleaning the porch, he's got literally like the scrub brush.
Scrubbing the stairs with a scrub brush.
Yeah, that's like why do you do that? Why?
I don't know. That's not a thing.
No, I've never had to do that. Just it doesn't make any sense. How dirty would one porch get? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And it's just gonna get dirty right after anyway, because people are walking on steps with their fucking muddy shoes.
Yeah. Andy rolls up on his bicycle and he's throwing papers. It reminds me exactly, and this is the second time we mentioned this in the show, like Paperboy for the Nintendo. He just like hurls them through the air. And he hurls this one at the bully kid's house, and it hits his front door, and then it bounces off and knocks the bucket of soapy water just right into the bully kid's face. He stands up all dramatically, and he tells Andy he's going to die. And then the chase begins as Andy rides away on his bike. He gets to his house and he tries to open up the door, but it's locked. And the bully's on his tail. So he runs into the backyard and he lifts up the door to his basement. And then he locks it behind himself. And I put a note here that just says the music in this episode is garbage.
Yep. I put shitty guitar music plays right here.
Yeah, all the time. Especially with the bully. The bully kid tries to open up the basement door. He's yelling that he can't stay down there forever, and then he walks away. He doesn't even try for that long. It's like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Andy finds a flashlight, and he's looking around his basement some more. He hears a rat scurry around, and then he tells himself to be strong because he's just giving him a pep talk. He walks over to the noise, and his little sister pops out to give us all a jump scare. Andy asks her what she's doing down there, and she says she's been playing. And he tells her not to come down there alone anymore. She makes fun of him, saying, yeah, the boogeyman might get me.
So, did you notice in this scene that there's a hand in a jar?
Yes, I did.
What the hell?
It's like a throwback to Vink's cottage. That's probably Quinn's hand.
That's what I thought, but no one mentioned it. I was waiting for there to be some mention of the hand in the jar.
No, Uncle Miles is just a creepy motherfucker. That's why the neighborhood
That's not
hated
interesting.
him.
Only old radios.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Uncle Miles is just a fucking nutbag.
Okay, well...
I understand now why Coda wants to get that family out of the fucking house.
This family seems to do laundry a lot.
Yeah.
So, you'd think they'd be like, I'm going to move that hand in a jar. So I don't have to look at it every 30 seconds when we're doing laundry.
No, nobody mentions that hand in the jar. We shift scenes again, back to the living room. It's night out, and Christina is playing her video games, and she's sitting like super close to the screen. Like my mom would probably be like, "You need to back up," but Andy's mom doesn't care. Those generic video game sounds are happening again. The boodle-doo-doo. Mom walks out and says, "And now the fireplace." And Andy is chilling in this giant chair, and he's coloring a picture of the door in the basement. And it's just a really terrible drawing because they show us it, and I'm pretty sure my 4-year-old would be able to.
It's like
replicate
scribbles
that.
with a crayon.
Yeah, this is where I thought to myself, I was like, they miscast this kid. It should have been somebody that was like Christina's age. So at this point, Andy asks his mom who Uncle Miles was. Like, what did he do? And while she's cleaning out the fireplace, she tells us that he was a strange guy. He never left his house, but somehow he got filthy rich. No one knows where the money came from, and the neighbors didn't like him very much. They thought he was loony. Andy asks how he died, and Mom says he was old and that he just stopped living. That's, he must not have got an autopsy? I don't know. There's some reason why you die. You don't just stop living. That's not how it works.
No, he was just done.
He was like, and scene, and he died.
They're just like, peace out.
She continues saying they found him in the basement and at the bar, and then she starts laughing, and she's like, "Let's change the subject."
She looks directly at the camera and says, "Let's change the subject."
Yep. And then she looks over at Christina and she tells her to go downstairs and do some laundry. And the sister doesn't respond at all. She's just sitting there playing her video games. So the mom asks her again, and she's just like, "Fuck off, Mom. I'm busy here." So Mom looks at Andy, and I'm just like, "What? Like, you told her to do it.
Yeah, seriously.
Do it again. Just take the fucking video games away." She looks over at Andy, and Andy doesn't want to go down in the basement and do this laundry. But the mom says that
I'm filthy.
So Andy has to go do the fucking laundry.
Yep.
I'm filthy. So yeah, Andy's got to go do the fucking laundry now because his mom's filthy.
Yeah.
On his way down, Christina breaks her unbreakable concentration from her video games to tell Andy not to worry because nothing's down there. And, she's terrible. But I do still want to know what video game she's playing. Down in the basement, we're given some more crap music.
So at this point, Andy's spent like 2/3 of his life in this basement.
Yeah. And every single time he goes down there, he has to have music on.
Everything's happening in this basement.
It's a hip happen place, man.
They might as well just move the TV in the kitchen down there.
Yeah, right. So down in the basement, we're given more crappy music. I thought it kind of sounded like a knockoff Hotel California or some shit.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Awesome. We're on the same page here. That's why we're good buddies.
Yep, that's the reason.
Some knockoff Hotel California. We spot knockoff Danger Zone. We're incredible. Andy's putting the laundry into the dryer as the door latch to that root cellar is jiggling again. The camera keeps zooming in on the radio that's playing, and then the door latch, and it's just like over and over again. And it's trying to tell us that the monster only comes out when the music is playing in the basement, which is obvious. It's really annoying.
Yeah. We should have an interlude here of Kiki like, "So the monster comes out when the music plays."
We should. But
Missed opportunity.
yeah, right. So the door opens up and Andy turns to see this absolutely the most This is absolutely the most terrifying thing that this show has given us so far.
This is some freaky shit.
It's this life-size doll monstrosity. It has. If you guys aren't following us on Instagram yet, that's at Private Island Presents, and we will be posting a picture of this horrifying doll because you need to see this. If you haven't seen this yet, you have to look it up.
I don't have a intense fear of dolls like some people do, but just it's like a life-sized person dressed as a doll with a weird moving mouth that's just creepy as shit.
It's got this light blue dress on with these big puffy shoulders. It's got like a sash around, like a lighter blue sash around its like chest or something. The face on it is just, it's got these dead eyes and this blonde curly hair. It's just literally the stuff of nightmares.
If I watched this when I was a kid, I would definitely have nightmares.
Yes. I'm pretty sure I've seen this as a kid, but I seen it more recently, probably like 5 or 6 years ago maybe. And yeah, I was like, holy shit. And then yesterday when I watched it, I was even more in shock. This is, it's the scariest thing that we gotten so far in this show. Finally.
Yeah, it's surprising how creepy it is.
Yeah. And Andy looks scared as fuck, understandably. I was still unnerved just like watching this right now, you know, as a 30-year-old man. He stands up as the doll is moving closer to him, and then it starts to speak to him. And I just want to make a note here that the crappy Hotel California shit music stopped playing, and now we just get this creepy music instead. I don't know how else to explain it. But anyway, this doll is talking to him, and it says in this like playful, like little girly voice,
Hi, Andy. Won't you come play with me?
And at this point,
No.
at this point, Andy's just staring at this abomination like he's entranced by it. So it continues talking, saying,
We can have lots of fun. Just come with me.
and then the camera slowly pans down over to the creature's hand, which extends out. And then upstairs, Mom's calling out to Andy, asking if everything's okay. Back downstairs, the doll says, "Hurry, please hurry," as Andy is still entranced, and he reaches out to grab this fucking eldritch horror's hand, as Mom's upstairs saying, "Hey, you, what are you doing?"
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Like, he's like 14 years old, and he's been down in the basement for a minute or two.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh shit, he's probably dead.
I know. So she's like, so she flips the switch, which cuts off the power to the music. And then this doll monstrosity screams, and it zips back towards the root cellar, and the door fucking slams. Mom calls back down to Andy as he like regains senses of his body, and he tells his mom, yeah, I'm okay.
I wouldn't be.
Well, we get a voiceover from Eric saying that Andy was hypnotized or something, and that he didn't remember anything that happened, which is probably a good thing, because he'd probably just have the worst recurring horror, like, fucking nightmares about this shit.
He didn't get hypnotized by the red eyes.
No, he didn't, because he remembered those.
Yeah, and he screamed.
It was just like this doll's... We can assume that the creature in the root cellar is like... I guess it's just like the boogeyman that can shapeshift?
I guess.
So maybe it was just this tactic of entrancing the little boy so that he could take him into the cellar. I said that Andy probably snapped back to reality and wondered why he had shit in his pants. The next scene shows Andy riding his shiny red bike up to his house and walking in. He's got a backpack on, so we know he's been to school. And immediately he finds a note from his mom saying she won't be home for a while, but please go throw these tarps in the wash. So he's got to do some more
washing.
fucking laundry. It's like
He just got home. Let him see some daylight before you send him down to that dungeon again.
Well,
Jesus, let him breathe, lady.
They couldn't think of any other reason to have him go down in the basement. Like, he went down for a ladder, then he had to do laundry, and now he has to do more laundry. You can't think of any other reason? Like, hey, go get that hand in a jar. I need it. need to bring that to the police so we can find out who this fucking like who the body of the hand belongs to. But nope, he's got to do more laundry. This time in the basement, we get this crappy country style music now. And it makes the door latch jiggle anyway, even though the music sucks. But then the radio station switches, and we're given some Playland Spookhouse bullshit. Andy walks over to the radio to try and change the song because it sucks a ton. But it's all that's playing on every single station.
It doesn't suck any more than any other music that's played in this episode.
Yeah, but this one sucks so bad that he wants to go over and change it.
Yikes.
Arguably, I would say that it doesn't quite suck as much as the guitar riffs and stuff, but Andy thinks otherwise. As he's tinkering with the radio, the door opens, and it shows Andy this carny, and he's standing in front of the same stock footage we saw at the beginning of Laughing in the Dark. There's a popcorn maker and some balloons, and the carny, who isn't even played by the same guy that played Vink.
Well, that's because Betty Ann owns the rights to that actor.
No, well, Frank had him in Phantom Cab.
Owns the rights to that character.
That carny. She'd probably fuck Eric up if he was like... And then the carny from Laughing in the Dark popped out, and she was just like...
She'd be like, oh, hell no.
So the carny is telling Andy to hurry, step right up. Hurry in, we got games, we got rides, we got prizes like you never seen. And Andy looks pumped, like he wants to go in there. And the carny says, don't delay, we got all kinds of prizes in here. And Andy starts walking towards this shit, but then he stops. And we get a close-up of the carny's face. He's got this curly mullet and a butt chin. And he says, oh, don't stop now, son, you're almost... here, and he reaches out and he grabs Andy with this skeletal hand, and Andy screams, and it goes back to the carny, who's turned into a fake skeleton with a hat on, like the kind you'd see in a classroom on TV.
The kind you'd see on like a shitty Halloween display.
Yeah. The skeleton says, "What's the matter, Andy? Don't you want to have some fun?" And it's laughing, and Andy runs away from it, and he grabs his desk as this vortex fucking vacuum tries to suck him into the root cellar, and it lifts him off his feet like he's getting sucked into a tornado. He's completely horizontal, hanging for his life from this bench.
He's like Superman flying.
Yeah, he is.
He's kicking his little feet.
The skeleton tells him, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be a show." And then he laughs some more, and he's reaching for Andy's shoes. And then Andy grabs the radio that's right in front of him, and it rips it out of the wall socket, and he falls to the ground, and the root cellar door slams shut.
Let me ask you,
Sure.
Did he grab the radio because he knew that the music would shut off and the door would close, or did he grab the radio to, like, support him?
I think he grabbed it to support him, like he could get
That's
a better
what I
grip on
think.
it. But that would be
like,
stupid.
What the hell, dude?
Like, that's not going to support your weight, obviously. It's going to fucking...
No.
And
it's
you know what else is
hanging on
weird?
by a tiny little cord that's obviously going to come unplugged.
Yeah.
You dumbass.
This whole situation, like, him getting sucked into the root cellar, being completely horizontally flying through the air, like, holding onto this desk like he's on a fucking cliffside. Wouldn't the suction also suck the radio and other shit from this heavily polluted basement into the root cellar too? So it would come off of the wall plug anyway and turn off. So
You'd think.
my thought on this is that this is the first time that the monster has actually touched Andy. So I think that's why he got to, like, focus in on sucking him up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I think happens.
Sure.
So at this point...
Why not?
I create the rules for Boogeyman around here. At this point, Andy's looking at the radio, and then he figures it out, that the music is what summons this thing. He plugs the radio back in, and he turns it on, and he watches as when the music's on, the door up to the root cellar starts to jiggle.
What a dumbass. Like, you came up with this theory, fine. You're a genius.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you immediately plug it back in when it just tried to suck you into hell?
I don't know. I don't know. Just to see if that was really what it is. Like, if it's...
Is it that important to know for sure?
I don't know. I mean, I would have been, like, at maybe the top of the stairs to test it out.
I would have been maybe halfway to Manitoba.
So he figures this out, he tests it, and he says, "I gotta tell Mom about this." And he runs outside, and he gets on his bike, and he rides right into the bully, who says, "Nice day for a ride, isn't it?" And then he fucking punches Andy right in the face.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, I don't think this would be
just-
shown today.
He just straight up punches him.
Just straight out decks him right in the face. Andy falls to the ground, and he says, "Stop, I gotta go get my mom." And the bully helps Andy up, and he says, "Your mom's not going to help you now, kid." And then he punches him in the face again.
Yeah. It was shocking.
It was.
So many TV bullies, like, just talk a lot of shit, but don't actually do anything.
Yeah.
But no, he
punches
just
him right in the
fucking knocks him out.
Yeah, like, Andy has a black eye for the rest of the episode after this, after getting after getting the shit beaten out of him.
Yeah.
He tells Andy to get used to it. "I'm going to beat on you for the rest of your life." A garbage truck, like, honks in the distance, and the bully grabs Andy's bike as Andy's pleading for him not to do it. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, what? What's going on here? But he throws Andy's bike in front of this garbage truck, and, like, a bent wheel rolls by Andy. And the bully tells Andy that now he's going to have to deliver his stupid newspapers on foot. And he says, "Oh, and you'll never get away from me." And Andy clutches his face, and then he groans. That seems pretty dangerous, to throw a fucking bike in front of a moving vehicle like that.
Yeah.
That could have
That's
caused, like,
dangerous
an
to the
accident.
truck. That's dangerous to himself.
That probably caused
But-
damage to the truck, and Coda just, like, walks away like nothing happened.
To be fair, that truck would have had plenty of time to see the kid approaching it with a bike held above his head ready to throw it.
Yeah, could have just
And
braked.
that truck didn't slow down at all. It's a residential
No, it honked his
area,
horn.
and it's like, beep, beep, I'm coming.
Kids at play.
Fuck you.
Oh, you know what? He was probably late, like the mailman. I'm late. Excuse me. I'm late. Running over people and bikes. Well, that's what it was. He was late. Andy grabs his broken bike and he's sitting on his porch. He looks all sad. But then he just like is thinking and he hatches a great idea and he sets to work on his plan. In the basement, he carries down this big speaker and wires it up to play on full blast. He locks his basement door from the top of the stairs. He rolls up this big newspaper and then he says, "Howdy, neighbor," for some reason. I don't know why. We cut over to the bully who's scrubbing his porch again. Like it must have got dirty again, and he's got to scrub it again.
That's just all he does.
It's the stupidest chore.
The only way he can get allowance is scrubbing stairs. It's like, Dad, can I just mow the lawn? No, the stairs need scrubbing again.
So Andy, I like this part. Andy chucks the newspaper at the bully's head. You know, the bully like gets up and he says, "When you're done with that, come over and clean my house. You make a good maid." The bully gets all pissed and then the chase is on. He tells Andy that he's dead. And just like last time, Andy runs into his backyard and down into his basement. Or so the bully assumes. Because the door was just like wide open. But Andy was hiding on the other side of the doors. And once the bully goes down in there, he closes the door and he locks it by putting like a broom in between the door handles. Which I think the bully would be able to break open, but
nah,
he doesn't. This broom is not that thick. The bully tells him to let him out and that he's a little freak. And then the bully runs upstairs and he tries to open the door, but it's locked. And Andy's already up there inside and he says, "What's the matter, Coda? You're not afraid of the dark, are you?" And that's the first name drop we get for Coda. Coda says that he's going to kick his butt, and Andy says, "I don't know, man. I think your butt-kicking days are over." And he reaches over to that wall switch, and he flips it, which starts up the music on full blast in the basement, which this is probably the worst music so far.
The music,
the episode.
The music alone is enough torture.
It's so loud. It sounds so loud that the giant speaker is like about to fall over. It's just like waving back and forth from the power of this music. The cellar door jiggles open and this red light is shown as Coda screams a bunch. And then Andy, he flips off the music and he walks downstairs asking if Coda's had enough. That if he messes with him again, he'll do this shit again to him. The music gets creepy and Andy finds this new awesome yellow bike down there. It's a much better bike than what he had.
Yeah, he had like a shitty old bike with a basket on the front.
Yeah, and now it's got like fucking gears and stuff. You can change gears. It was a cool bike, except for it being yellow. I wouldn't buy a yellow bike. So he like looks around, he sees this bike, and then he turns the radio on again, and I don't know why, and then this light blue light comes out from the root cellar, and it opens up really slowly, and the monster starts talking to him. And the monster says, "It's all yours, Andy. I'll give you anything you want, just like I did for your uncle." And Andy asks, "Who are you?" But the monster ignores that, repeating, "Anything you want. You only have to do one thing." And Andy's like, "What's that?" And the monster says, "Feed me." And then we hear the voice of Christina upstairs telling Andy that she's home and that he has to make her dinner and it better be good or he's going to get it. And the monster laughs as the camera pans over to Andy's face. And he's just smiling. And that's the end.
It's a dark fucking ending for this show.
I loved it. Oh my gosh. I thought that was awesome.
I thought the Super Specs ending was dark. And I thought that was as dark as it was going to get. But Andy straight up fucking murdered Coda.
And all he got for it was a bike.
Premeditated murder. It wasn't an accident. No, he set this up Home Alone style to get Coda down there.
Yes.
And to have the monster kill him.
I mean, to his credit, I guess he didn't know the monster was going to kill him, but he almost got sucked into a vacuum fucking...
Yeah, what did he think was going to happen?
Obviously, he didn't want to just come in and hang with him. He wanted to eat him, obviously.
Did he think he was going to go down there and Coda was going to be literally just chilling, having a snack with the giant fucking creepy doll?
I don't know. Maybe he thought that like, I'm just going to scare him for a minute or, no, not even a minute, like a couple seconds. like it scared me for a couple seconds, but he left it on too long.
He murdered a
Coda.
human being. And he's going to murder his sister.
Well, we cut back to the Midnight Society, and Kristen says, he didn't feed his own little sister that thing, did he? And Eric tells her no, but he made sure she didn't bother him anymore. So little sis gets to live.
No, she doesn't.
I'm sure, I think I said something about this, because you mentioned, oh, do they always just like shoot the shit about the episode at the end? And I told you, yeah, sometimes they expand the ending. This was the one I was thinking of, because you know that the producers did not intend for them to be like, oh yeah, she didn't feed the sister to the monster.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought, wow, that was a great ending. And then it immediately cuts to Eric neutering the ending by being like, nah, that whole ending didn't happen.
No,
that was very clearly a network
that...
like, you can't have the story end with an 8-year-old girl being murdered.
Yeah.
But
I like to think, I don't even consider this part of the story. He totally murdered his little sister.
Yes, that little girl is fucking dead.
Yeah.
And he probably got a sweet-ass bike again.
Another bike.
Yeah, he's just got a garage full of bikes and no sister.
Yeah. Betty Ann says, cool. And Kiki says, I would have done it. Little brat deserved it. David tells Eric it was a great
ice
story.
Ice cold.
She is, yeah. Maybe that's why I like her. Nah, I don't know what it is. David tells Eric that it was a great story, and the kids all smile. Gary says, well, it's getting late. We gotta go. And he declares the meeting over. He dumps the water over the fire. And then Eric asks where the fuck Frank is with his dad's flashlight. He's got to take that back home. Kiki tells Eric to wait for him. He'll be back. And they get up to leave. In fact, they all get up to leave. And Eric's like, wait. I don't want to wait here alone. Why can't you just wait with me? And Kristen gets in his face and says, what's the matter, Eric? Afraid of the dark? And he laughs, saying, no, there's no problem. I'll wait. And he waits for like 3 seconds before he starts telling himself a few times that he's not afraid of the dark. And then he starts screaming for Frank, saying it's late. And then a wolf howls, and Eric starts singing to himself.
I don't even know why they would assume Frank is coming back.
I don't either. I wondered that too. I
assumed he just
went home.
Yeah, ran off scared.
He's like, you guys are being jerks. I'm just going to go. Frank grabs Eric and he runs away screaming. Frank looks at the camera with the flashlight shining on his face and he says, paybacks are sweet. And that's the end of the episode.
So funny and lame.
It was.
Paybacks are sweet.
So I loved this episode. I thought it was incredible.
I thought really good.
The story was so solid. You know, I loved when Andy was asking his mom about his uncle, and she was like, basically she was doing like some foreshadowing for us, saying, you know, no, he never left his house. He got rich. Nobody knew where the money came from, and he was found dead in the basement. So this uncle was killing people and getting what he wanted. Monster was using him first.
I don't care where the money came from. I want to know where the money went. Cause
that's a good point.
That house he was living in was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
In the middle of some crappy suburbs.
He was probably using the money to pay prostitutes so that he could feed them to the monster. Because, I mean, he probably didn't use his neighbors because the neighbors all hated him, but they probably knew something was going on because he, you know, somehow got all this money and, like, nobody in the neighborhood was disappearing, but people were probably going into that house and he had to get rid of their cars and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was super solid.
Yeah, it was really good.
So what I think about the house thing, how I said, oh, you know, you can't get a house for free. You know, you're going to have to pay taxes or whatever. That I think that the demon, the monster, like somehow forwarded the house to the next of kin so he could keep getting fed.
So you think the monster was in charge of the estate?
I think that he somehow, because Uncle Miles died in the basement, and I think that like the demon like either coerced him into like tampering with the will before he ate him, or just like somehow did it himself to make sure that the next family member would come and feed him too. I don't really get why he was going to eat Andy at first, though, instead of just using him from the start.
I don't understand that either.
I'm thinking he was really hungry because it probably was a while since he got fed last. Because I think that the last person that he ate on was Uncle Miles before he died. And
Presumably.
yeah. And I think he knew enough about the family to know that there was 3 people that he could use. And so I'm just going to eat. I'm hungry now. I'm going to eat the first one that comes down here. And then maybe the other one too. And then see which one I can use or something. And then Andy fed him and showed that he was a smart kid and that he could be manipulated with stuff. So he's going to use Andy. That's my takeaway of the episode.
All right. I don't disagree.
Yeah, I've had years to think about this.
And I'm sure you've used it very
wisely.
wisely.
Yeah. But yeah, super great episode. Probably my top for the season so far. The Tale of the Dark Music, though, I thought it was pretty alrightly named, right? I mean, I guess. The music sucked in the episode, but
Yeah.
what other names do you think we could give this one?
Tale of the Shit Music.
The Tale of the Dingy Basement.
The Tale of the Never-Ending Laundry.
The Tale of the Vertical Blinds.
The Tale of the Dirty Stairs.
The Tale of that sweet shark statue.
The Tale of Where the Hell Did That Hand in the Jar Come From?
Yeah, I think those are good ones. I feel like we could go on and on about this one, though. All right, Brandon. So the next episode is called The Tale of the Prom Queen. Who do you think is going to be telling this story, and what do you think it's going to be about?
I think this is going to be a Kristen story.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Not just because I thought this one was going to be a Kristen story, and she's due.
Yeah, this sounds like a girly story.
This sounds like a cute little story with a lot of slow walking.
Yeah, yep.
Have you ever seen the movie Susie Q?
Yeah, I have with the Pink
Amy
Power
Jo
Ranger.
Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it's going to be like that?
Yes, that's what comes to mind.
Okay, I'll take it. Do you want to give a little brief synopsis for anybody at home that hasn't seen Susie Q? I know that movie was like 1995, but...
Yeah, it's been like 20 years since I've seen it, but there's like a girl going to prom or something. She dies, but her ghost comes back, and she's got unfinished business. Yeah. And then at the end, she like rides off in her prom car. She's done. She completed her task.
I don't remember much about this episode, like at all. I think this was I don't want to say this is another one I skipped, but I think as a kid, it's prom, so it's going to be about older teenagers. I just didn't care about older teenagers, I think. I wanted stories that were more about kids my age at the time. So I don't think I think I skipped
3
this
years
one.
old?
Well, yeah, but I mean like on repeats anyway. I was only 3 when this came out. I was almost 4.
Fair enough. There's a few episodes with 4-year-old main protagonists, I'm sure.
I mean, Day Day had the mindset of a 4-year-old. But yeah, I'd say you're probably right. And we'll find out together. This is going to be episode 12 already. We only have 2 more episodes of the season. It's gone by in a blink of an eye.
It's amazing.
I still have so much editing to do.
Well, you have fun with that.
I will. All right. Well, I've been up all night. I'm getting tired. How about you?
Always.
I know. It's a curse. Curse of being human. Not really, though. I like sleeping. It's good stuff.
It is the best.
It's so good that I think I'm going to go to sleep right now. I'll talk to you in about a week. Does that sound good to you?
Yep, I'll see you.
All right. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
I'm filthy.